If you or someone you know has diabetes, you may have built up an extra supply of test strips and lancets. That's where we come in. We'll buy the supplies that you don't need and resell them to those in need to prevent waste. Help us make diabetes management more affordable. Visit us at teststripswithaz.com.
All right, joining me right now is the brand new Cage Warriors light heavyweight champion. He defeated Martin Hamlin Nielsen by TKO in the 4th round of the absolutely loaded and insane Cage Warriors 106 card a few weeks back. We are being joined by Modestas Bukauskas. Modestas, how are you? Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, I'm doing very well, thank you. Thank you for having me on, man. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. First off, congratulations on the win. What an incredible night that was. I mean, 6 titles are on the line. That's just incredible. It was a historic night for the promotion. It was a historic night for MMA in the UK. And we'll get to the fight in a moment. But considering the lineage and the history, all of the great moments Cage Warriors has had throughout the years, what did that mean to you to be a part of that card?
Yeah, I mean, whenever I was sort of trying to get a fight booked up, and stuff like that. Obviously, we were talking to the matchmakers, and obviously, me being a fighter, I want to fight as many times as possible. I want to fight as early as possible. We're always trying to get on every single show and stuff like that because I always feel ready. I feel ready to go. But then, as soon as they announced that I was going to be on the Night of Champions card, they've only done, I think, one other card like that in the whole history of the promotion. Obviously, it was a massive honor for me. For them to select me, and not only just to be fighting on that card, but also fighting for one of the 6 titles that they had on the line. So yeah, historic card, and I was obviously very, very happy to be on that.
I'm sure it doesn't sound as sweet as the ring announcer doing it, but when you hear yourself doing these interviews introduced as the new Cage Warriors light heavyweight champion, how does that sound? Like, it's been a few weeks, almost a month. Does it seem real to you at this point?
Yeah. I've said this a couple times. I actually did a lot of visualization. I was watching a couple of Conor McGregor videos and even Michael Bisping and stuff like that. And it almost became just a natural sort of feeling for me to be a champion because I had already ingrained that in my mind for so many weeks over the course of time. Funny enough, I actually met Jon Jones at the Body Power Expo, which was about, I think, 7 weeks before the fight. And, I'd sparred with him previously when I was 22, so about 3 years ago. And when I came up to him and introduced myself, he already knew me straight away. I didn't really need to properly, introduce myself or anything. It was amazing, being able to talk to him again. And just seeing, that he's a world champion and stuff like that sort of spurred me on and gave me extra motivation. But I actually handed him a sheet of paper which had a couple of pictures of me and him with it and a picture of the Cage Warriors belt. And he signed it. And then, I'd written underneath that I was going to win by TKO. Not in, I didn't exactly say it was going to be in the 4th round, but on the sheet of paper, I wrote that I would win by TKO. So, there was small things that I'd been sort of ingraining in myself, as time went on, closer to the fight and obviously through my preparations and stuff like that, when it finally did happen, obviously it felt incredibly crazy. I felt I was dreaming because I was like, I've been visualizing this in my head, but for it to actually come out and, play out and come out to fruition was really quite weird. It's quite shocking. But at the same time, it's like, because you conditioned yourself to be in those situations, to be in the spots in the fight and everything, leading up to it and everything after that, it almost just felt like a natural thing. And now that I have, the belt sitting on my mantelpiece, it's a case of now I'm just looking forward to the next step. Now I know that being the champion is going to be a massive target on your back, and you've got to come up with even better performances than you have done previously.
Have you talked to Jon at all since you won the belt? Because I think that would be pretty interesting I don't know if you hit him up on Twitter or anything like that. You did exactly what you said you were going to do.
I actually made a post on Instagram saying that, I obviously gave a lot of I even said in another interview that I gave a lot of thanks to Jon Jones whenever we did train together because, that helped inspire me, made me believe that, that I will be a world champion one day, able to to compete with guys of that caliber, and that they were so welcoming and they're so amazing with their training. They taught me like a load of things. So yeah, I made a post. I tagged him in it and everything, and he actually said congratulations on my post and stuff, and he liked a couple of my posts. Obviously he's a very busy guy, though. I can imagine he probably gets a million messages from loads of different people, so I wouldn't expect him obviously to answer me straight away or whatever, but yeah, he did actually comment on one of my posts, which I thought was really nice of him.
That is really nice. And you took on a really, really tough guy. You had 3 hard rounds against a really gritty wrestler. He put you to the test. You finished the fight in the 4th round, and you talk about visualization and things playing out kind of the way you expect them to. You've been a guy who has gone through the fire and come out on the other side many times in your career. Was this one just par for the course at the end of the day?
Well, I think, again, with every fight that I've had, especially, previously, it's almost like I've leveled up in a certain way. Everything that we've done in training, we've trained something specifically for one particular opponent. It's sort of helped me towards the next fight and then the next fight on top of that. So every single time I'm leveling up in a different area. So by this point, we had trained extensively on the get-ups and getting out of these, as I guess you can say, sticky situations, doing a lot of shark tanks and stuff like that. So a lot of the preparations that I'd done leading up to the fight actually got me prepared for those situations. Obviously, I'd been working a lot more extensively to make sure that he wouldn't be able to take me down, but I'd been put in such bad situation by amazing training partners, in training, that when it got into the fight, it almost felt like, okay, I know what to do in this position. I've been here before, I've been put under pressure. I've been doing it, after 4 hard rounds of, fresh guys coming in every single minute. So, and the fact that I was in the fight and obviously he was wearing down as much as me wearing down, obviously I was able to come out on top of those particular exchanges and managed to get out again. But yeah, obviously my style, being a more of a stand-up guy, I guess you could say, we know that most guys who have some sort of wrestling or grappling pedigree are going to want to take me down. It's just something that I've sort of have to become climatized to in my career, especially in my last fight. I completely did not expect that guy to even want to take me down. I thought he was a striker, so that completely had to change up the game plan and stuff like that. So yeah, for this fight, we were preparing a lot for him to take me down. But because I've been in those situations, like I said, with the shark tanks, we were able to overcome the pressure that he was able to put on us. And we knew that if we were able to overcome the pressure early on, that later on in the fight, we'll be able to capitalize, which is eventually what happened.
Yeah, you definitely weathered the storm, and you came on the other side like we talked about. Did you expect the fatigue on Martin to come in so deep in the fight? Because, normally with a guy like that, a couple rounds, it does that. I watched a Contender Series on Tuesday night. We saw a lot of that on Tuesday night. Were you surprised that he kept up that pace for as long as he did?
I have to admit, yes, I did. I actually thought he was going to tire pretty much within the 2nd round, but he ended up tiring a lot later than that. To be fair as well, in the stand-up, I was still trying to find my range. I feel like the 4th round was when I was really starting to find that range with that jab, find that range with that right hand, and that's when sort of things started to become well more into my favor. So yeah, he did surprise me at how more conditioned he was than I thought he was. But at the same time, obviously, you got to expect, a lot of wrestlers, they go through what's called the grind. I'm pretty sure Americans know that term pretty well. But like in the wrestling room, I've heard some crazy stories of what they're training, and I've witnessed it. And not only witnessed it, I've participated in some of those trainings. So I know how crazy and difficult it is. So for him to be training in that constantly, having to overcome that, I knew he was going to have some sort of cardio. But in MMA as well, when you're going to have to stand up, and if the guy's stopping your takedowns or he's getting back up, it's a very tiring thing. But yeah, his cardio was better than obviously I initially thought it was.
You said you found your range. You felt like you found your range in the 4th round. I felt the momentum of the fight really started to shift at the end of the 3rd round. What was the discussion like with your coaches in the corner between the 3rd and 4th round? Because it looked like the momentum started to change and you were starting to get off a little bit before you started getting real comfortable in the 4th.
Yeah, the good thing about my corner that they all work together and mesh together so well. Especially having my dad and Denison Sutherland, who's he's been a big part of UK MMA. Same with Danny Batten, who was also a previous Cage Warriors champion. All those guys corner that, like I say, really molds and meshes well together, and they flow off of each other. So the advice that they're giving you is not contradicting whatsoever, and that was exactly what I had in my corner. They just worked together perfectly. One person gave one bit of advice, another person gave another, but all in all, they were very calm. That's, I think, what also kept me calm in the fight, because when you're going into the fourth round and you feel that you may be down in the scorecard, you're thinking, all right, Modestas, we've got to pick things up now. Like, what the hell's going on over here? We've got to start putting on this guy, if you want to win this fight. So they did a real good job of just making sure I stayed calm and just giving me the little pieces of advice. Really, they didn't give me any grappling advice. They just told me more of the striking things that I needed to do more, like close the distance more, try and use that right hand, use the leg kicks more. So there was a lot of there was honestly, if you're talking about technical stuff, it's just very small things that I needed to adjust. But that's what helped me to close the distance and then finally start getting it going in the fourth round. Always my dad, and I still think I haven't really shown everything I'm capable of yet. He tells me all the time, like, you need to show more of your flamboyant striking, because that's and it's true. I probably do have opportunities like that, but now I'm just finding that rhythm to be able to start throwing that stuff a bit more, because obviously when you're facing high level opposition, you want to do everything tactically the right way and stuff like that, which is obviously what my corner was telling me to do. But it's good that my dad's got a bit of that side where he wants me to show myself out a little bit more and do more crazy techniques that I know I'm capable of. And I think, as my fights progress and, my career progresses, I'll be able to show that out even more. And then that will, hopefully give me a better sort of force out in the fight. Like, as the rounds go on, I'll be able to put the pressure on a bit more by using those particular strikes.
When you finish the fight in the fourth round, the referee pulls you off. You realize you just won the fight. You're the champion. The belt's about to get wrapped around your waist. What's going through your mind?
Oh, it was a massive blur. I honestly, like, as soon as the fight was over and I saw Leon Roberts step in, I actually didn't think he was just going to step in that early, to be honest with you. But obviously then Martin Havner ended up falling backwards onto the floor afterwards. But yeah, it's almost like my trademark thing to just, like, just sort of scream and just, like, pull my arms to the side and flex my biceps in front of the crowd. I don't know, it seems like a common denominator in all my fights now as a celebration. But yeah, again, jumping on the cage, completely unplanned. I didn't think that was even going to happen, and then I just see all my friends and all my family, they had all these banners with my name on it and, like, my flag on there and everything. So it was just amazing seeing how much support and how much love I had coming into the fight. And, the energy that I had in the cage, it was extended out into the crowd with all my friends and family. Their energy was absolutely live. So at that point, really, it was like a bit of a blur. Like, sort of things just happened very quickly. Next thing you know, I'm going and getting my hand raised, and then it's weird. As I was, going into, like, the post-fight interview and stuff like that in the cage. Again, it came back to the visualization that I had, because it was in my head to put the belt on my dad's shoulder after the fight. Every single night that's exactly what I was thinking was going to happen. And then it's just weird when it finally sits there right in front of your eyes, like the thing that you've been thinking about every single day just actually happens. So it was crazy. It's like, yeah, it's almost like then I saw, like, okay, well, this is the sequence. This is what's now going to happen, because I already thought about it in my head. So yeah, it was amazing. I think whenever you just finish a fight, like, obviously the emotions are running high, and to be honest, I think I was absolutely, like, gassed. Like, as soon as I went to, like, scream and everything, that was, like, literally using my last ounce of energy. I felt like my throat was going all funny afterwards and everything. It was mad, but it was a lovely experience.
How have things changed since June 29th? Has anything changed with you mentally after being the champion? Do you feel like your hunger levels have had to change and ramp up a little bit? Because, you're the champion in a promotion where that means an awful, awful lot. Like, it could end up being a ticket to the UFC, as history has told us with Cage Warriors. How do you think things have changed for you on the mental side of things since becoming the champion and essentially becoming the hunted of that division?
Yeah, the mental state now really is similar. I mean, I always work hard. I'm always trying to better myself. I mean, as soon as everyone was telling me after the fight, especially the week after the fight, all my coaches, even my dad, Modestas, you need to take some time off, take some rest. Like, don't go mad, don't go straight back in. Already by the Tuesday, I swear, I was literally just hungry. I was just like, I just want to go to jiu-jitsu. I just want to do something else. I think now there's a mindset of, after every fight, really, it's a mindset of I just want to keep getting better. So anything that I know I need to improve upon, I just want to make that, whatever that weakness may be, not a weakness anymore. I want to make that now a strength of mine and stuff like that. So I'm always thinking about the improvement side. I think being the champion has only made me want to be even better than what I am, because I've got to a certain level to get that belt, but now to go on to the next level and to fight the best fighters in the world, you have to step up and even another level. Most of which I think, in my particular case, needs to be done in the fight, because and the thing is, everyone who fights at this level is going to be training hard. They're going to be doing everything possible to try and better themselves and do everything correctly by the time it gets to the fight. Now it's just about in the fight. I think now mentally I'm at a different stage where I'm a lot more confident. I'm a lot more willing to do these different techniques and just show myself a bit more, as I was saying earlier. So when I get into the cage now, it's all about just being confident and just embracing that moment. Now I feel that every single time I step in the cage, I've leveled up mentally, which is why I want to stay active, because obviously I love the feeling of being in the cage. And every time I step in the cage, I feel that's where I make a part of my improvement. Yeah, you make a hell of a lot of improvements in the training room, but I feel like a big part of my improvement as an athlete, as an MMA fighter, has been in the cage itself. So that's why, really, in my eyes, I'm just ready for the next challenge and ready to move forward.
Have you always been like that in terms of like your visual approach? Have you been like that since the very beginning of your career, or was there a certain point in your career where, it just kind of got added in and a switch was flipped somewhere? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I think that switch has sort of been forced upon me through adversity, and the main one being, and I used to fight 84 kilos. I don't know how the hell I made it down to 84 kilos, because I would not be able to do it now. It's even a struggle now getting down to 205. So, but yeah, I was at 185 pounds. I went 4-0. And then at that point, that's when I went and sparred with, I went to Albuquerque to train the Jacksons and Jon Jones and stuff like that. So everything was going really well. And then I had 2 losses in a row. And, at that point, that's when I had to make a lot of sort of changes to reevaluate what things I was doing wrong, what things mentally, physically in the training room. And, all those adjustments that I made then have sort of carried over until now. I mean, I had a meniscus surgery actually at the end of that year that I had those 2 losses. So that's when things were pretty much at the lowest step. But I think from those experiences and from, being at the lowest and the low and having to crawl your way back up to the top from being at the bottom, that almost teaches you the way you need to be mentally. It helps you to be numb almost to tough situations, because you've already been through it before. So it's nothing new. Obviously, new challenges will always present themselves, but it teaches you how to keep yourself calm and help you to learn how to get through those tough times. So yeah, I think the adversity is really what helped me mentally the most, because it helped me reevaluate myself. As an athlete, it helped me obviously to learn how to get through those hard times. And now when I'm fighting and competing, I'm always carrying over the visualization and stuff like that, because I realized that was a big part that I needed to my game. I mean, even when I was injured and I couldn't do any training, I was just doing physio. That was a big part where visualization really helped, because my dad, and the thing is, when your dad tells you something and he says, oh, you need to go and, think about these moves in your head. I'm telling you, like, and you're thinking, well, yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, but nothing could be as effective as doing it in real life. Like, sometimes your dad gives you a piece of advice and you're sort of skeptical as if it's true or not, right? Thinking, oh yeah, the days have moved on, the times have changed and whatnot, right? Me being young and stupid. But then I actually started doing it, and then I did it every single day. I was like, okay, well, I can't drill it, but can I drill it in my head? But then, lo and behold, when I actually got back into training, it was almost as if I didn't leave. It was so weird. So I think that was sort of like the turning point. Ever since that time when I was literally laying in bed with my leg, having it holstered up, in a brace, and me having to do physio and different things, but I couldn't do anything grappling wise. And then you look at it in your head and you do it. It sort of just carried over. Then every fight, I'm visualizing how the fight's going to go, what sort of shots. Another great example I'll give to you, actually, one of my, because I went to high school in America when I was 16. I played basketball out there, and one of the coaches, he's actually still a very good friend of mine. And actually, before my meniscus surgery, we were training together, and we were doing spinning back kicks. And he had a pad showing spinning back kicks and stuff like that. And then he posted a picture a week before my fight against Marcin Wojciech. And crazy that literally the week later, I win my fight by spinning back kick. And he made a video saying, I told you to spin back kick. So yeah, man, it's mad. But yeah, ever since those experiences, I think once you've had those experiences, it helps just solidify those areas even more for you, that you need to add those into your game.
Kids, what do we just learn here? Listen to your father. They're never wrong. I remember my father would always give me advice and be like, Dad, how do you know that? And he would always respond with, because I know everything. And I would never believe him. And then like years later, it all comes back full circle. It's hilarious how that happens.
100%, man. It's too many times it's happened with my dad, I'm telling you.
Oh, man. In terms of like where you're at mentally, because, I'm not a fighter, but I think we're all in similar situations with our careers. Like, you take these paths, you're on this sort of quasi highway, and you see all these exit signs of like where you can go. And all of a sudden, like that one exit sign pops up and you're like, this could be a really good opportunity. Should I get off here? Or, is it my time to do that? And for you, being the Cage Warriors champion, that oftentimes than not leads to that life-changing phone call. Hey, you want to come fight for us in the UFC? Are you, at least with me, like I always am like, when an opportunity like at least presents itself, or it could present itself, I'm like, you know what, this would be cool if it happens, but I'm just going to keep acting as if it's not going to happen and just like continue moving forward. Are you like that right now in terms of your MMA career? Like, yeah, the UFC would be great, but listen, I'm a champion. These guys are going to be gunning for me. I have to focus on that first.
Yeah, I think I genuinely, and this is not being, I guess this is not trying to be big-headed at all, or, trying to be, I genuinely am confident in my skill set. I think, as I say, I've needed to be more confident in my skill set to really bring out and really to show it out into a fight. As I say, if I'm sparring with, the best fighter in the world and, doing well, and, I'm sparring all the other greats at Jackson's, and they're absolutely amazing. They help me so much out there. It sort of like rings a bell that, I'm meant for this, and I'm meant to be competing at the high level. And that was 3 years ago. And I've made tons of improvements since then. It's absolutely crazy how much I've improved since then. So if you're saying, whether I'm ready to fight at that level at the minute, I generally feel I'm ready to fight at the UFC level. But yeah, as you said, of course, you have obligations to defend the title. And obviously, if the phone call doesn't come, then I'm still going to be training. I'm still going to be getting better. I'm still going to be doing everything needed to go out there and perform at my best. At the minute, it seems as though Cage Warriors wants me to fight in November to defend my title. And as I was saying to you before, I want to stay active. I want to be able to fight. If it was me, I would want to fight in September, October, something like that, because I feel I've always been in a training camp. back to back, every single fight, I've always gone straight into another training camp. But the thing is, people think it wears you down, and it just lifts me. It gives me more energy every time I know that there's a fight booked and there's something going on. That just brings more excitement and involvement out of me. So, but skills wise, I definitely feel I'm ready for the UFC level. So it's sort of like you're expecting or you're hoping for a phone call to come. But again, if it doesn't, then okay, I'm going to go out and still perform to my best, because Cage Warriors is an amazing show. They give a really good platform for the fighters. Everything that they do is literally specific to get you ready for the big show, the cage, all the pre-fight interviews and stuff like that, all the press that they do, all the meet, everything like that. It seems similar to what they would do on a UFC sort of fight week. So yeah, I'm just excited for the next challenge. Obviously, in my mind, I'm always like, I just want to know exactly what's going on. And at the minute, we're sort of, I'm just training and making sure I'm ready for whatever comes up. But yeah, I'm just making sure that I'm going to be in shape, and that if anything does arise, I'm going to be ready for it, basically.
You would have fought July 1st if it was up to you, but yeah. You're 25 years old. You've had 11 pro fights. You're now the champion of a major organization, and you talked about some of the lessons you've learned along the way. So I have this belief, being in the broadcast world for so long, that anybody could be watching right now. So for those who are watching right now that are aspiring to be in your position, aspiring to be a champion, aspiring to accomplish what you've accomplished here, what advice would you give to a young fighter that's trying to get where you're at right now?
I would say actually two things. One is make sure you work hard. That is one thing that you can't escape at all. There's a lot of fighters, who say they do things and blah, blah, but really they're not going out and putting their full effort into it. You've almost got to be obsessed with this stuff. Like I've sacrificed so much. I've given up going on dates with girls. I've given up, going on these trips with my friends and this and that, all for a specific goal. There was times where I would have to go to an event or whatever after I finished training. Everyone's eating all this amazing food. They're all like, plastering it in your face, and you've got to say, nah, I can't do that. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like you have to really work hard, and you've got to have no ego. You've got to make sure when you go in the training room, if you've got something to improve upon, work on it. If you get tapped or whatever, that leads on to the next thing that I was going to say is, to use adversity as a tool. So, in the training room, you could be getting fit. Like, I remember so many times I shoot for double legs and I'll keep getting, hips smashed across my face. And, I end up getting cauliflower ear and stuff like that. And, I couldn't get a double leg on no one. And then lo and behold, after years of practice and, continuously, I'm talking drilling it and failing a million times, then it starts getting into your head, and then you're able to start doing it. So using failure as a tool, working hard, and using, again, adversity as a tool is only going to make you stronger. You've got to remember that, everyone's got a different path. Like, I could have easily went all the way and went 11-0 up until this point, but that's not my path. That's not me getting the most out of myself. For some people it is, and I give them all credit. There's guys who go out 11-0 and they're still smashing it. Like, do you know what I mean? They go to the highest level and they're smashing it, but that's their path. They were already ready mentally and physically and whatever, but I wasn't. So I just had to take my time, do everything that was right. As I say, work hard, battle through all the hard times, and then slowly but surely, you keep doing that consistently over time, it will accumulate to something big. And in my case, being the Cage Warriors Light Heavyweight Championship.
Well said. Modestas Bukauskas, the brand new Cage Warriors light heavyweight champion, joining us on the program, coming off his big win at Cage Warriors 106 Night of Champions a few weeks ago. Great stuff, man. Before we let you go, let the folks know where they can follow along on this journey with you via social media. Any shout outs, anything else you want to get off your chest? The floor is yours, my man.
Right. Let's get the long list out of the way, shall we? Right. So yeah, if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's MODYB24. On Twitter, it's my first name, Modestas, so Modestas, and then Bukaus1. So that's my Twitter handle. And right, I'm going to start with the sponsors first. Do you know what? It's funny. I usually have to get my banner out to remember all of them, to be honest with you. But we'll start off with Merakilo. Thank you so much, guys. Amazing clothing brand. Helped me out a lot. I really like their stuff. Another big clothing brand that's coming up is Mauler MMA. Make sure you watch out for them. Their website is dropping soon. They've got some really good stuff, especially all MMA related stuff. I've got to give a massive thank you to Fighter Shop UK. He's given me amazing equipment, all Venom stuff, included as what I'm wearing now. You know, he's given me loads of, you know, like shin guards and stuff like that. Go check him out. He's absolutely amazing. Distinct Physiotherapy. She's absolutely amazing with physio. If you're down in the Watford, Radlett sort of area, St. Albans area, make sure you check her out as well. She does everything specific to how you need to recover to get back and do your thing. I've got to thank as well. There's a lot of sponsors actually that have been very close friends and family, especially for my last fight. They've helped me out financially so that I'm able to go and train full time and do my thing. So from the bottom of my heart, I want to tell all those people thank you, especially West Hampstead Physiotherapy, the man from there. He's done a lot for me. I believe it's Crest or Prestige services for basically like protection, close protection services and stuff like that. Right, sorry, there's still more. Black Sheep Dispensaries, thank you so much for helping me out with the CBD products. I help massively with recovery and everything, and obviously I've got to give them a massive shout out as well. I've got to give a shout out to Gintas Combat. Got to give a shout out to Denison Sutherland. Got to give a shout out to BST Academy, Danny, Raymond, all helping me out a lot. Got to give a massive thank you, obviously, to my dad. I mean, listen, I've said it time and time again. Without him, I wouldn't be where I'm at, and I wouldn't be as skillful as I am. So, you know, I've got to give him a massive credit. Mill Hill BJJ, they've helped me out massively, especially Dan Strauss and Eddie Inglemels. All those guys, they always help me with my training and, you know, to get me better. I want to give a massive shout out to Terry Dixon. He's my boxing coach. Working alongside very closely with my dad. He got my hands nice and sharp, ready for this fight, give me all the sparring sessions needed. So I've got to give him a massive thank you as well. And I know there's obviously a lot of people and you know, a lot of people that have supported me and a lot of sponsors that have helped me out and everything. So I'm really sorry if I've left any of you out. Obviously, I'll try and get everyone down together because, as I say, I've just had amazing support from everywhere. But yeah, if I've missed anyone out, I'm really sorry. Oh, also got to thank you, Dan Good Conditioning. He helped me sponsor me for my last fight. So I've got to give him a massive shout out as well. So yeah, I think that should be everything.
Thank you, Modestas. Congratulations on the win and becoming champion. Continued success, and you know, I hope that phone rings for you sooner rather than later because I think you deserve it.
Thank you so much, my man, and thank you so much for having me on the show and speaking to me, man. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks, man. Take care.
Nice one, man. You take care.